Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to Views on the News.
Was the Pope appealing for peace, or was he praying for peace?
And the same applies to the carry-on drag.
Yeah, that's a good question. So what do you have to say about that, guys?
So I've had lots of apologies from people who are sick, on holiday, got appointments with their wives and all sorts of excuses. But my favourite panellist is here. It's Dread from British Columbia. How the devil are you?
Arr! I'd be good. How about you?
Good. Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you very much.
Good.
Yeah. But we've got the usual motley collection of news. Some of it rather horrifying, I'm afraid. Some of it just ludicrous. And a little bit of what you might call good news to end up with. Okay? So item number one focuses on South Africa. And we would normally, of course, have Tercia in our panel giving her views on this, but I can report that she's been fished, promoted. She's now a panelist on a Afrikaans radio station giving her views on the news. So she's moved into a higher realm. So we will see her again.
Is that going to take her every Sunday, or?
I don't know. She doesn't know. She was very nervous about it when I spoke to her yesterday. Anyway, we'll see. It doesn't matter. We can move our time a little bit and catch her. Yeah, it's not since it's not a live stream. It doesn't matter when we do it, just for our convenience.
Right.
Okay. Item number one is in South Africa, and it's about a chap called Muhsin Hendricks, who was an imam. He was that strange thing, a gay imam, and worse than that, he was openly gay. Well, you can guess what's happened, can't you?
Right.
He was shot dead. Yeah. And it's particularly poignant because he just agreed to be our guest in Free Thought Hour. So a couple of weeks before we would have been able to interview him, he is no more.
Right.
He was 57. Sorry?
I was going to say, I kind of find it's a strange thing to me that someone who's openly gay still chooses to be a member of a religion that doesn't allow gays. Like, I don't understand the rationale.
He was pushing his luck, wasn't he? But he did know that, and he was saying he's predicted that one day they'll get me. For the last couple of decades, he was expecting to be rubbed out, and indeed he was.
Yeah, it's just, again, it seems a little odd to me that you're going into a religion which is pretty clear and has a pretty clear stance on all this stuff.
Well, we don't know which came first.
Anyway, I don't know if it makes any sense.
No, we don't know which came first. He might have already been in the religion. He might have already been an imam before he discovered he was gay. But he still had the option of staying in the closet, didn't he?
Or just changing bloody religions.
Yeah.
I mean, there's other religions out there that celebrate a God. I mean, what ties you to one that is so hostile to who you are?
Yeah. There's the honourable pastor, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very tolerant religion.
Absolutely, very tolerant.
Yeah.
We take all types of noodles. We don't care.
Yeah. There you go. So, but the sad thing is that he was killed on Saturday morning, not yesterday, but the previous Saturday. and he was driving. Some of the reports are not in agreement at the moment, but so it's a sort of breaking news story. One suggests that he just married or attended a wedding of a lesbian or gay couple, and he was in his car, and then another vehicle came up. Two unknown suspects with covered faces. They were very brave.
Right.
They covered their faces, started firing multiple shots into the back of his vehicle, and that was the inevitable result. It's a shame because he was a nice guy. Apparently, he supported and mentored many people in South Africa and around the world in their journey to reconcile their sexuality with their faith. So he did good work while he was around.
Yeah. Well, good. Yeah. Well, that's too bad.
Mm.
Anyway. Yeah.
So item number 2, it's also a Muslim-related item, but this is from Bangladesh, and what's been going on there, because this has cropped up in Views on the News in previous weeks. It's an ongoing story about women's football,
Right.
which, because they've just they're having a change of government. They've ousted the previous ruler.
The authoritarian one, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And at the moment they've got an interim administration, but having got rid of the authoritarian one, the Islamist groups, which had been suppressed,
Right.
they've become emboldened.
Right.
They think we can have a go now. She's gone. Yeah. And so one of the things they've been doing is protesting against women's football. I mean, that really needs to be protested against, doesn't it? I mean, it's so.
Yes.
I'm being sarcastic.
I see this sort of thing in agriculture. I was a consultant for 20 years. That a pest of a certain crop, sometimes you get it under control, and that only brings to the fore a secondary pest that's been kind of suppressed by the original pest.
Yes.
So, which devastates it even more.
Yeah.
You know, the first pest was kind of keeping it under control,
Yes.
and then when you get rid of it, it just goes crazy. Yeah.
The moral of this is don't exterminate one villain because you don't know what you're going to get next.
Exactly. Well, it goes back to the saying, the evil you know, as opposed to the evil you don't, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Anyway, apparently, if you're a woman, playing football is un-Islamic.
Right.
And so they protested. The police feared trouble, and they stepped in and asked the women's team members to go home. Right. So they couldn't play. They had to go home.
The Islamists got what they wanted in the end anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. This has been going on in Bangladesh for some years. Going back to 2016, a group of Islamist gunmen stormed the Holy Artisan Bakery, a Christian bakery. It was so offensive to them, they killed 20 people.
The bakery was offensive?
It was a Christian bakery. It was
I see.
A Holy Artisan Bakery. I guess they baked bread in the shape of crosses. Or maybe they made hot cross buns or something. I mean, it's not really a laughing
or breadsticks shaped like nails.
Yes. It's not really a laughing matter because they killed 20 people. This is the stupidity of it.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, no, it certainly isn't funny, but man, this it's just so crazy, and crazy is becoming so normalized.
Yeah.
What does one
Meanwhile,
do? Shake their head. Oh my, not another one.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Wow.
Meanwhile, I mean, it's like school shootings in the States.
Right.
No sooner they stop reporting on the last one than there's another one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Completely stupid. Meanwhile, I think it's now 3 of the country Bangladesh's best known actors who were doing their normal expectation, like opening a department store. You know, you get a celebrity along to cut the tape. She was stopped. The famous Pori Moni was stopped, and because of objections from religious groups, and she now feels insecure, and she doesn't feel that she can open anything anymore, and she's been doing it for years apparently. So
Right.
that's another thing that the Islamists have cancelled. I hope they feel pleased with themselves, because it's such a threat, isn't it? Cutting a tape
Right.
to open a shop.
No doubt.
Uh,
And then there are still people out there, saying anyone who criticizes Islam is an Islamophobe. It's just,
yeah.
come on, people, really?
Don't get me on that, because a phobia is an irrational fear, but
It's
there's
a rational fear. Yeah.
nothing irrational about fearing that you might have a Muslim suicide bomber standing next to you.
Yeah. Or that, men are dictating what women can and cannot do. Yeah. That's a real thing. It's a real thing.
Yeah, indeed.
I'm not afraid of it. It's actually real.
Yeah. You've got reason. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got reason.
So there's a very brave ex-Muslim, Ayan Hirsi Ali, who she's been in the news quite a lot recently because first of all, she was an out ex-Muslim who was one of the new wave atheists way back in the early part of this century, when it was the 4 horsemen of atheism.
Yeah.
And she was
in vogue.
Yeah. She was part of that period, but more recently she's been in the news because she's become a cultural Christian. She's decided to go.
I saw her debate with Richard Dawkins.
Yeah.
Where he basically just said, it's a load of bull.
Yeah. So she's gone from one load of bull to another load of bull, and
right.
We're very disappointed, I can tell you. us genuine atheists,
right.
We think she was not a true Scotsman when she was with us. Right. Anyway, she has done an interview. She's now in Australia. I think she goes on speaking tours, and she's done this fabulous interview, and I really admire what she's done. And it's long, I'm afraid. It's 5 minutes, but I think you'll find it's worth it. Take a look at this.
If you want to invite people in from outside of Australia to settle and live in Australia and to belong, I think it's very important to have the conversation with them that this is the place you're coming. Here's what Australia is all about. And in order to belong, you are going to adhere to our norms, and we'll tell you why. But if you don't want to adhere to our norms, it's fine. We believe in freedom, but you don't get to live here.
What about the term multiculturalism? Because it's almost celebrated, particularly in places like Australia, and it's almost an embarrassment that our own old culture, in our case predominantly an Anglo culture with Indigenous underpinnings, but our own culture isn't good enough on its own, that bringing in all of these people have made us richer and better, but in some instances it's come at a cost.
I think the mistake that was made years ago was to apply that philosophy to immigrants. And immigrants who are settled in Australia and given citizenship were also told that they could assimilate or integrate on their own terms, hold on to their own identity. And unfortunately, the result of that for some of these immigrants, not all of them, but for some of these immigrants was to form their own ghettos. Enter radical Islam, which is an international ideology that seeks to transform everywhere it goes and tries to take over control and power. And the philosophy of multiculturalism empowered the Islamists into isolating Muslim individuals, convincing them that the Islamist worldview is their worldview and that is what it is to be a Muslim, and turning them against the local populations. The problem you're seeing in Australia is exactly the same problem they have in the United Kingdom, in Germany, in other parts of Europe, but we also have it in the United States. And so now I think is the time to say multiculturalism as a philosophy has failed. If you want to bring about social cohesion in a nation state, you emphasize what unites us. You don't emphasize what divides us. And multiculturalism is about emphasizing what divides us. And the way multiculturalism works is some of these communities, minorities, as they say, are to be afforded exemptions from the laws that majorities have to uphold.
Yes, and we see that in the United Kingdom too, don't we, with the debate about Sharia law, the debate about marriage to first cousins. That's been a feature of quite a lot of contention in the British Parliament recently. You mentioned the move by radical Islam across the West. What's their end game?
Of radical Islam. The radical Islamists, they want to bring about Sharia. Their end game is they've got this thing called the Caliphate, the Islamic State. That's their utopian dream. That's what they want to achieve. And they don't just want to achieve it for themselves in their own societies. They want to impose it on the whole world. In fact, after the Arab Spring, one of the new developments is the original countries of Islam, like Saudi Arabia and the UAE and Egypt, have...
Oh, I accidentally pressed the wrong button, I think. Anyway, we've heard a lot, haven't we? And she goes on, she's very eloquent, and says a lot of very sensible stuff about, if you're going to come here, if you want to come here, these are our rules. And you either agree to them or you don't come. I mean, if it was my house, I'd say that unashamedly. I don't have many rules. I'm a liberal, but if I did have rules, I'd say if you want to come here, you take your shoes off, leave them at the front door. A lot of people do that. And why don't we do that on the borders of our country? Why don't we say, if you're going to come here, you can't have Sharia law. If you want Sharia law, stay where you are.
Yeah, for sure.
She's right. It was a mistake that we made in not doing that back then.
Yeah. And but it doesn't say we can't start, right?
No.
I mean, it's not an irreversible track we're on here, right?
No,
I don't think.
Yeah, but we are up against what you mentioned earlier about, you're Islamophobic, and
of course, there's like a huge challenge, but even from my point of view as a pastafarian, I just promote my thing, not as a as a opposition to anything else, is just as an alternative.
Sure.
Point of view that doesn't have to have people bending their knee or anything to or thinking, right?
No, you don't. No, you don't need to be worshipped. You haven't got to inferiority complex like God appears to have.
Exactly.
Yeah. But
No birth sacrifices over here, thank you.
Yes. I would say that it's not Islamophobic, it's not even a real category, to be anti-Islamist. I mean, Saudi Arabia is, and Egypt is, as she was saying, they've banned Islamists from becoming members of parliament. So if it's all right for them, Muslim countries, surely it's all right for us.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and you're, I mean, you made the good point too about Islamophobia, phobia being a fear of, right?
Yeah.
You know, like people who have arachnophobia aren't out to kill all spiders.
No.
They're not going to ban spiders from the world. You know what I mean?
No.
But
No.
you criticize a spider for being creepy.
Yes, yes, yes. Keep your 8 legs away from me.
Keep your 8 legs off of me, you 8-legged critter.
Yes. Anyway, you'll be pleased to hear that we're going to visit the US of A in our next item, because as you well know, because he's Donald Trump, he's only just begun, a month ago or 6 weeks ago, his second term in the White House, but he's already being bullying and throwing his weight around. He's even threatened to not quite invade, but to absorb, I think is probably the best word, Canada as the 51st state, hasn't he? Yeah. And he's threatened to buy Greenland and to annex or grab back the Panama Canal. So he's already throwing his weight around. And one of the things he has done is he's changed the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Right. Well, he hasn't changed it here. You know, Google have changed the name, although they keep the original name underneath, formerly the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah. So that's all he's done. He's persuaded one of his map makers to adopt his policy. Yeah. And that's only because they want to, you know, kowtow to their president.
Of course. Yeah. You know, but just as you know, Mar-a-Lago stooges, you know. He's getting them all over there.
Yeah. Anyway, what this change of naming stuff has done is it's given hope to Christians who want Trump to do something similar for Israel. I'm a bit puzzled because isn't Israel a Jewish state and these are Christians? I don't know. But they want the West Bank renamed back to Judea and Samaria, which is what it was in the Bible.
Right.
So they're quite in favor of this renaming gig.
Right. And it's all about the fulfillment of the apocalypse and their end times and all that kind of stuff, and heaven on earth and blah, blah, blah.
And imposing the will of one megalomaniac.
Yeah.
So I can't see.
You heard that he referred to himself as "Long Live the King" on a Twitter thing.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you know, I just don't get why people aren't tuning in. You know, the people that voted for him aren't tuning into the fact that it's coming true. You know, this guy is a problem. He's not leaving. He's not going away.
Well, the fear
is killed, or he's gonna be the monarch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Remember, you know, the thing with Julius Caesar, right?
Yeah.
You know, he was put into that position. There was actually a position of dictator. And the people put him into that position, dictator for life. And then they figured out, well, maybe that's not a really good idea.
Yeah.
And of course, he met with an ill end.
Yeah.
So the Ides of March are coming up.
Well, that's true. 13th. That's a date.
15th of March.
15th, is it? Oh, yeah. Okay. Anyway, we've got to put up with him for the meanwhile.
Yeah.
Hopefully some of these people, the fear is they either ought to be tweaking, that's probably a British expression, coming to realize that they've elected a lunatic, or they actually agree and want those policies, those lunatic policies that he's...
And it's funny because like I had my dad, sometimes he's got some strange ideas, but he went on there at one point on Facebook and wrote a post saying, yeah, we needed somebody like Trump up in Canada, someone to shake things up. I was like, and there's a bit of a slippery slope there. It's like, you may find one thing that you like about Trump, and then it becomes almost like a necessity to justify that position, that you start gobbling, gobble up more things. And then all of a sudden, everything he does is a good thing.
You can't back down once you've nailed your colours to his mast. Yeah. That's a very pirate term for you.
What's that?
Very pirate term for you, nailing colours to the mast.
Yeah.
Anyway, going to Germany, where a 19-year-old Syrian man was arrested on suspicion of stabbing a Spanish tourist at the Berlin Holocaust Memorial. And I've got a short video of him being arrested, which I think you might want to see. The German police doing a good job. Yeah. So
why are they all masked up like that?
I don't know. That's I don't know what their normal garb is.
Like
so
Black Ops?
It was, I don't know. Winter, nighttime, who can tell? So the assailant, apparently, the guy they were arresting, approached his 30-year-old victim from behind before stabbing him and running off. And as another hero, creep up on you from behind and then stab you.
Yeah.
He was arrested after the police noticed bloodstains on his hands and clothing. So he had a backpack in which was a copy of the Quran, a prayer rug, and a bloodstained knife. So the police suspect that he was religiously motivated, and since then it turns out that he had planned for several weeks to kill Jewish people.
Wow. But no clear reason or motivation why? Just because, or
anti-Semitism? Why do these people take against a particular religion, faith?
Yeah.
It's weird. The only good piece of news is the victim is in hospital and his life is no longer in danger.
No, that's good.
Yeah. So going back to the States, in Oklahoma, that's the one up from Texas, really central, a senator, David Bullard, filed a bill to resurrect monuments featuring the 10 Commandments inside and outside the state capitol. Now, he's tried to do this before, but they either I'm trying to get another file up and I'm not finding it easily. Wait a minute, here it is. No, that's not it. Let's go to desktop. No, I can't find it right now because I've got an audio recording of him, this senator. Now I'll have to try and add it, I think, but it's not a video clip, so it might not go. No. What a shame. Wait a minute, there it is. Will that go in? No. Or can I present it in another way? Let me try and get it through. I'd like you to hear this because it's so bizarre. No, it's not gonna work. It's not a compatible file, I'm afraid. So
Okay.
I can't play it to you because it's a shame, because he's very bigoted, and it's a pleasure
Well,
to listen.
surprise.
Yeah. Anyway, previous attempts for him to get these monuments resurrected have been shot down or declared illegal, but this time he's trying to smuggle them in under the guise of history. Okay,
Right.
so he's been on a radio show saying that because the superintendent of public instruction, that's the chief in control of what schools teach, although the superintendent can create new rules, they're often ignored. And so he wants legislature to make it harder to ignore the rules. And what he says is, we can't just leave it up to the teachers, because if the wrong person is in the front of the classroom, they might not deliver the message perfectly as he wishes. And according to him, the wrong person has pink hair.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
oops, his bias came out. Yeah. Anyway, we just got time before we run out of time to give you a couple of good items of news. One is unbelievable. Listen to this. The Anglican Bishop of Birkenhead, a female, Julie Conalty, has called for the Church of England to be disestablished. Oh!
Yeah. Well, that's going to happen, isn't it?
But we've been wanting that for decades, and now suddenly they've got one of their insiders who's on our side. How weird.
You got to chip at the wall from both sides, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And she says that because the reason that she's come out and said that is because of this safeguarding issue. You know, they've realized after many years of child abuse by their priests, which have caused the resignation of the Archbishop of Canterbury and threatened the resignation of other members of their hierarchy, and it made a former Archbishop of Canterbury hand in his priestliness. So they've realized that they need safeguarding rules, okay, to look after children. But they had a debate about it. The Senate had a big debate about it and did not follow the advice of Professor Jay, who is an expert on child sexual abuse and was the chair of the independent inquiry. His advice was to have safeguarding which is entirely independent of the actual body of the church, so that these are outside supervisors. They didn't vote for that. And this is what's stimulated this bishop to say, well, as a church, we still weren't able to listen to criticism from experts or survivors. That debate and voting exemplified the arrogance of the established church. So that's why she wants to disestablish. It's good to have them on the inside too, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, and maybe she can have that conversation on a much more personal level with other colleagues of hers,
I hope
and
so.
slowly, kind of convince them that maybe this is
Yeah. Do
the
you
direction
think
to go.
do you think I ought to invite her to join Atheism UK?
There you go. Yeah, she can be a pastafarian too. I'd be happy to have her.
Yeah, yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Finally, you remember back in August 2022, British Indian author Sir Salman Rushdie was stabbed in a New York State lecture
Right.
stage, and he lost an eye and has a paralyzed hand thanks to nerve damage to his arm. Well, the good item of this news is that the man who stabbed him has been judged guilty.
Good.
We haven't got his sentence yet. That's going to be happening on the 23rd of April. But likelihood is 30 years. 30 years.
Okay, so not an eye for an eye, eh?
Oh dear. Yeah. How close to the eye socket bone is that?
Yeah.
Anyway, there you go. That's it for today, Dred.
Well, that was obviously a lot going on as always.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Not much of it good either. No.
No, unfortunately.
But I do have a new outro, which I'm not sure whether you've met. So thank you very much. Take a listen to this. Take a listen.